Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for stopping by. Today I'm obviously doing a prom makeup tutorial for 2016. This look is so poppin' and glowing and highlighted. I love this look. I'm so proud of myself. I love the lashes and the thick liner, and it's definitely going to be lasting you all night, girl. Anyway, here we go. Let's get into the tutorial. I'm starting off with Pond's Dry Skin Cream, and I'm going to moisturize my face with this. This has glycerin in it, and as many of you know, that is great for keeping your makeup on, so this is going to double as a primer. I really like to use this as a primer because it keeps my foundation on all night and it doesn't sweat off, so it's perfect for prom. By the way, I actually made a Spotify playlist that I've been listening to during this video. It's called Getting Ready for Prom 2016, and I figured you guys could listen to it and get ready with me. So now we're going to leave this on for 3 minutes, and we're going to let it dry. I'm just fanning my face to try to make it dry a little faster. Okay, now I'm going in with the Salon Perfect Go Glam Demi Wispies, and I just put them on off camera because I thought that it'd be so much easier that way. Now I'm going to grab my eyelash curler and I'm just going to press these together and make sure that they really stick on there, that way they last longer. Now I'm using my handy dandy beauty blender and it is damp, and then I'm going to be using the L'Oreal True Match Lumi foundation. As usual, everyone's probably like, Brittany, please, we know you love this foundation, but anyway, it's in the shade Neutral Medium, and I put 2 pumps on my beauty blender, and I'm just going to be dabbing that all over my face. A little bit more coverage for this one because it is a prom tutorial, so I will be using more foundation. And make sure when you're blending out your foundation to please put it down onto your neck because you do not want a line. Your date is going to be like, oh my gosh, she has a foundation line, and they will notice that. So everyone will notice that actually. So pull that out down onto your neck, make sure everything's blended out because you want a flawless complexion for prom. Now it's time for that bye bye under eye, and I have this in the shade Neutral Medium. I'm just making tiny little dots because you do not need a ton of this because girly goes a long way. And I'm telling you, like, I just made these tiny dots and you can already tell that that is spreading out. Anyway, I'm just spreading that out and dabbing it into my skin. I am not rubbing it, I am dabbing it. We want this beautiful bright under eyes and on our eyes for prom so we can be glowing and looking super cute. So this is how I achieve that look. Now we have that all blended in, we can be moving on to the Maybelline Age Rewind Eraser Dark Circles Concealer. Boy, that is a long name, Maybelline. Anyway, I'm going to be putting that onto my chin and a little bit under my nose area because I get red there, and I'm going to actually extend the brightness from my under eyes up to the top of my ears. And then of course we just dab that out with the beauty blender, making it all flow together like a river. I have a couple stray hairs, so I decided to pluck those out, and I'm going to be covering up the redness with my Maybelline Age Rewind Concealer and dabbing it out with a beauty blender. Now we're moving on to that contour, the contouring palette of Wet n Wild Mega Glow, and we're going to be using my fluffy contouring brush, using the darker shade. Just going to be going in from the cheekbones, going back and forth, and just kind of making a harder line right now, and we're going to go in and blend that out later. Right now we just kind of want to get the basics in. If you hadn't already guessed it, of course we're putting it up on my forehead, because that is essential. Then we're going to be putting it a little bit below my lips to make them bigger, and then along my jawline. notice a little bit of redness below my contour, so I'm just concealing that and blending it out really quick. Now I'm going to be using the banana shade, and I'm going to be putting that into just the lighter areas of the contour, just to brighten those up really quick. And so this is just going to look really nice, and it's also going to keep your makeup on a little bit longer. Of course the chin, of course the under the eyes, all of the light areas. We are back with that brown shade, and we're going to contour the nose. I'm not going to show a ton of this because, one, it takes a while for me, and everybody likes to contour their nose a little bit differently, and so I'm just basically outlining my nose to look a little skinnier, and then I'm going to buff that completely out, and then I'll put the banana shade in the middle of my nose, and it'll brighten the middle, and everything will be looking pretty good. Ooh la la, I've got the e.l.f. blush palette, and it's the dark one. I'm going to go in with that top right beautiful pink shade, and then be careful because it is extremely pigmented, girl, but it's so pretty, and it's going to give a really nice, beautiful touch. Now with the Too Faced Chocolate Bar, oh my gosh, this smells so good. Anyway, I'm going to be using the top. I'm pretty sure it's Gilded Ganache, but I should double check that. This is basically going to be a base for the rest of your shadows. It doesn't show up a ton, but it's going to blend a lot easier. I'm going to be taking that bottom left, beautiful shimmering brown color, and I'm just dabbing that in with a small shadow brush. Now I'm using the Bobbi Brown Shimmering Brick Compacted Palette, and this is the pink one. I'm using my fan brush. I'm just going to be going along my cheekbones. This is going to give you a razor sharp freaking highlight. You're going to be beaming at prom. And of course we've got to put this along our nose, a little bit on our forehead, and I actually have started to like to put it on the top of my forehead, in the middle of my brow, and then on my chin. Now, of course, I'm going to put it on my finger because it's so much more pigmented when you're putting it above the lip. I actually just did my brows off camera using the Anastasia Brow Wiz, and it's in the shade Ebony. Now we are going to be making a real weird concoction with glycerin. As many of you know, MAC Fix Plus spray is so expensive, so I've kind of made my own thing. I'm going to do a full tutorial on this, but the quick version is you just add 1 part glycerin, 3 parts water, and you put your shadow brush in there. And now moving on to one of my favies, we have the Naked Urban Case Smoky palette, and this palette is so gorgeous. I rave about this all the time, I know, but it is just so pretty. Now I'm going to be using my handy shade Black Market. This is a beautiful black shade, and it's really going to get darkened. So obviously I dipped the brush in the concoction that we made and then slid it across the Black Market shade, just dabbing it onto the brush, and then we're dabbing it on the outer corner of the eyes. Now I'm going in with the shade High, still in the Naked Smoky palette, and again I dipped my brush in the glycerin water. And basically what the glycerin water is going to do is it's going to bring out the pigment of the makeup so much more, and it's going to make it sparkle, shine, and last all night. Taking my fluffy brush and going in with the beautiful darker shimmery brown shade in the Chocolate Bar palette, and I'm just putting that into my crease to mix these colors together. Now you don't have to use a fluffy brush, but I'm going to use the same color with the fluffy brush and just put that under my lids to make them pop a little bit bigger. Now I'm going in with Gilded Ganache, still on the Chocolate Bar palette. I am going to first dab that onto my finger and push that underneath my brows, and then I'm going to go in with a small shadow brush and go over it again. Once again with Gilded Ganache and the small shadow brush, I dipped this in the glycerin mix, and I am putting this over my shimmer to make it a little bit more poppin'. Now I'm using the Wet n Wild graphic marker eyeliner, and look at that tip. It looks like a straight up calligraphy pen, but it's like so cool, and it was only like $3 or something. It's really inexpensive, and it's a good buy. I really like it because of the bold eyeliner that I did for this look, so it worked out good. I'm taking an angled eyeshadow brush and going in with Black Market and just sweeping that under my lid. Using the IT Cosmetics mascara, and this has kind of a cool tip, that's why I decided to use it, because I didn't use mascara before my lashes. Ask me why, no one knows. And then I'm going over that again with the Smashbox Full Exposure Mascara. And that is everything for the eyes. I think it turned out so beautiful on the eyes. We're going to move on to the lips, and you can do any lip color with this look for real though, but I'm using the Tarte Lip Surgeon's Lip Cream in the shade Wonder, and I really like it, but I'm actually going to layer this with another shade. It's called Touch of Spice in the Maybelline Matte Collection, and I'm literally just gonna put it right over the lip color to make kind of a pinky red but more of a matte shade. And I actually forgot to set my face, so I'm gonna go in with the Hourglass Mood Light Ambient Lighting powder, and this is so beautiful. It's supposed to be like making your face look like a candlelight glow or whatever, and it's so pretty. But anyway, that is it for this look. I hope you enjoyed it. These eyes are popping. You're gonna be looking so great at prom. I actually didn't go to prom, but I did go to prom, but just with friends. And anyway, if I was going to prom this year, this is what I would wear. So I hope you guys really liked this tutorial, and obviously if you did like this tutorial, then click down below, like and subscribe, and leave a comment for any requests that you have. I'd love to do any spring makeup looks or whatever, so anything that you want me to do, let me know. And don't forget, there's some bloopers here at the end. So have a good week, and thank you so much for stopping by.